Okay, so I'm recording for the folks that I've had people ask to do this on Facebook and then here on YouTube, of course. Hey, Brian, can we see some of your work before we send a Bible out to you? And for the most part, the reason why I haven't had a lot of, I guess, video or I've had quite a bit of photos, but I haven't done a tremendous amount of rebinds. I haven't. I'm still learning a lot, but I've practiced a lot. That's really how you're going to learn, is just by getting into some scrap leather and really practicing a technique. And that's what I wanted to do. So I haven't done a lot of rebinds, but I've done a lot of practice, if that makes sense. And I want to do that. So that way, when I do somebody's Bible and it is returned to them, it's done right, properly, and it looks attractive, but also it is made the right way and durable. So I figured I'd start doing videos on telling you guys or showing you guys little tricks, tips, and stuff like that on how to do rebinds for yourself. So you don't necessarily have to come to, say, me or some other rebinder to rebind your Bible, where you could get a few tools, which there will be a future video on just simple tools on how to rebind your own Bible. Now, there are certain things that you would have to spend quite a lot of money on if you want all of the bells and whistles to a rebind, and that would be like heat stamping tools. And of course, if you want a really high quality of leather, that can be expensive. But let me get into this video here. So yesterday, I had put in this leather liner. It is finally, the liner is set, glued in with bookbinder's glue. I have not worked on the book block yet. That's why you see this big white spot here, but that'll be taken care of. I will be taking off the head and tail bands and replacing the ribbons, just because I was going to just leave it the way it was and just reinforce the spine and glue it. But these are kind of short, and I want something a little bit longer, and I would like to have that third ribbon, just the way I read my Bible. I like to have 3 ribbons just because of the reading plan I have, which is nice to have. So instead of keeping these tail bands, sorry, let me actually zoom in just a little bit here, guys. Instead of having these tail bands that came with it, which are pretty good head and tail bands they use, but they didn't really get installed too well. You can see a big dip right there. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. It doesn't hurt the integrity or the instructional integrity of the Bible. I am learning how to do actual head and tail bands where that will be stitched into the Bible, and when I'm able to do that to my liking, where I think it's done correctly and it looks really good, I will let you guys know. And that's something that nobody I know of does anymore, except for people that do homemade journals. But if I'm able to do that with Bibles, which so far in my little bit of practice, yes, it's doable, and I think it will add more structural integrity to the Bible. I will keep you guys updated. In fact, I just got the thread and some coring. Some people call it coring, or the cord, or the tubing that you wrap the thread around, and then the stitches actually go in between the signatures to give some more stability to the top and the bottom of the text block. But I'll be taking this off, and I made some head and tail bands, which I haven't cut the size yet. And what I did is I skived, you can see the full thickness of the leather on this side, and then you can see where I had skived it and folded over each other. And of course I haven't cut it to size, because you can see where there's a little bit of leather hanging out on the side. But you can see that when it's skived, that it's actually still thinner, even 2 pieces folded together, still thinner than the full thickness of that goat skin that I'm using, this river green goat skin. So what I did down here is I even skived the tabs, which will be connected to the text block along with the Oxford hollow, and I skived around the 3 sections here, and what that does, gives it like a seamless effect. I mean, really, if you look at it, let's go a little bit closer. Let me see if I can zoom in even more. Is there a better zoom here? So really, it's hard to even see, but the only way you can tell there's a line right here is if you look really close up, which is still, you can't really totally tell. The only way you can tell the difference that there's actually a leather liner overlapping is by the different leathers that were used. They're both black, but they have different grain, and this is more of a pebble grain, of course, and this is river grain. So that's where I'm at right now. Let me zoom back out for you guys. So I'll be doing a lot more videos like this and showing you guys how to do it. So that way, you know, you could do your own rebinds and you don't have to come to me or another rebinder to rebind your own Bible if you just want one done. Now, I will say that there are certain things, if you want all the bells and whistles, that can be really expensive. And some people have a hard time skiving Bibles, so they just go to rebinders. And it could be really labor intensive. If you're just trying to get one Bible done, though, and you don't care about gold stamping and a perfect skive or something like that, I can show you some easy Bible binding techniques where you can bind your own Bible that will last many, many years and look good without all the bells and whistles. So that's what I plan on doing. So you can see this side, same thing, skived around the 3 sides here, and the tab is also skived so it doesn't give a lot of bulkiness. So that way I don't lose the overhang, or what we call the yap. Now, I use my own mix of glue that I learned from somebody else. I put it in an Elmer's bottle, just as he does, just because it's easy to dispense with a bottle like this, dispense the glue. I think he does a really good job, and I'm glad I took his advice. What I do is I take, it comes in powder form. It's methyl cellulose glue. And then I got a bottle like this. I mix the powder with a ratio of, oh goodness, I don't know on hand. Is it 2 tablespoons with so many milliliters of water or something like that? That'll be in an upcoming video. And then you mix it with water. You shake it, let it sit overnight, and it completely dissolves. Then you have this glue, which you'll mix with, let me see here, another PVA glue. You can find this on Amazon. Really good PVA. I'll show you a better one here in a second. And you do a ratio. I did like 1/3 of the methyl glucose or methyl cellulose, whatever it is, glue that I made. And I did 1/3 of that with 2/3 of this PVA, and it seems to work just really, really well. Now, what that does, you guys probably wondering what that does, so I have to explain that too, is when you put the glue on, it gives you more time. It has a nice tack to it, but it gives you time to move the leather around, adjust things before drying too quickly. Whereas if I was just to use this straight off with not putting that other glue that I made in there, it would dry a lot faster and you might not get the results you want, and it's stuck where it's at, and you'd have to rip that leather off, clean it up, and restart, which you don't want to do that. And when you do that mix and you come up with your own mix, and it's a slower drying formula, that will really help. Of course, this is just a cover they made, and I put a leather liner in. I'll be doing an NASB thin line. I'll be working on that later, either today or tomorrow. Anyways, I'll show you when I get to the corner work of it how to do the corners. But that's where that glue really comes into play, because when you're doing the corners and you want to do those pleats right, and you're coming around, you want to have more time to do those pleats, and that's where that glue comes in. Very important. I just seem to use it on all of my binding work, just because the mix and the ratio that I've used, I like a lot. It just seems to work really nice, and it doesn't take too long to dry, but it gives me that little bit of extra time I need to make sure everything's positioned correctly. So guys, that's where I'm at. The better glue I was telling you about. If you want something better than what I showed you from Amazon, you can spend some more money, and you can get this in a gallon, which I do not recommend if you're just starting, and I don't think any rebinder would recommend that. Or you can get even in a smaller batch than this if you just want to rebind one of your favorite Bibles, and it's just a one-time DIY thing. This is Jade 403 PVA glue. I believe you get this at Talus. I think there's multiple places, but I think I got this at Talus. Either that or I got it from another place that I cannot think of. But just look at Jade 403 PVA glue. This is considered the best PVA glue for bookbinding. By any bookbinder, they consider this the very best. One thing I will say, though, is when you do make or buy glues, they can expire. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do one project, find the smallest bottle they sell. And it should last you months, if not a year, before it goes rancid. Because there's no kind of like preservatives or anything like that. So it's like a wheat paste type of deal there. So using all natural things and tend to go bad. But anyways, so leather head and tail bands are ready. Just need to be cut to size. I need to work on the text block. And this is much more flexible now without having that vinyl and that cardboard underneath. And I'm really pleased by it. Let me just show you the other side, and then I'll close it out. I'm already past 10 minutes, and I don't like to go too long, even though I always do. Move that to the side. And you can see where I did the tooling lines, reinforced the tooling lines, because you couldn't even see the original tooling lines that came with it were not indented enough to really see them that well. In some areas they were. The corners were just fine, so I left them, and then I worked on these. But right here, you can even tell there was a tool line. It had pretty much faded away, so I put my tool line there, and then I added this tool line myself. So that kind of gives it that nice little, I like the look of it anyways. So that's where I am, guys. And I'm going to keep doing these videos. You know, there's a lot of people out there that want to rebind, but they can't afford it. So I'm just trying to teach you guys. In the future, I'll be teaching you guys how to do it. If it's just a one-time rebind for a Bible that you love, but you can't afford $120 to some people spend $500 on a rebind, and you want to do it yourself, I'm going to show you how to do it. Absolutely free here on my channel. So I just want to be a blessing to people. So until next time, guys, good day. God bless.